All right, guys, everybody's talking about Luigi Mangione and Daniel Penny and Penny's acquittal, Luigi's arrest. And I want to talk about something in particular that has bugged me about the conversation around these two incidents. It's centered kind of around this word radicalized. It's in vogue these days to talk about how people are being radicalized by events. I feel like this might have started in 2016. Does everything lead back to Trump? Maybe, but how MAGA voters were radicalized by the wars or NAFTA or Brett Kavanaugh or by people being too mean to Mitt Romney, and how that rationalized their support for Trump. Robert Evans, who I like a lot, is far left of me, but he writes today about how Brian Thompson's killer, Luigi Mangione, was radicalized by his pain, by his back pain. There are so many people I've seen on the right, including Meghan McCain in particular, discuss how they're being radicalized by the treatment of Daniel Penny. I think that all this radicalization talk is just simply fancy excuse making for people who are living in decadent times. Like, it is creating an environment that gives people a rationalization for defending horrible actions or for acting horribly or for voting for somebody that they know is bad. In some cases, it even romanticizes horrible actions as being part of some existential good. We've seen this in the case of Mangione. I want to push back against this, beginning with Luigi. We're going to learn more about this guy's motivations in the coming months, so some of this may be wrong. But we know that he disappeared a couple months ago in November. Family and friends were looking for him, so he possibly had a psychotic break. I don't know. We know he was reading pain books. He had X-ray of his back on his Twitter header. We read his little manifesto. I'm not calling it a manifesto. It's like 2 pages. Okay, it's more of like an outline, a rant. So his little manifesto, he rants about the health insurance industry. But the media he was consuming, if you look at his social media feeds, was not like anti-capitalist stuff. It was more kind of like center-right podcast bro, like RFK, Rogan World type stuff. So based on that, we don't know exactly what Luigi's pain was. It may have been debilitating. I saw a report from a roommate that said he couldn't have sex because of it. That's not great. Wouldn't like that. His Goodreads account, as I said, indicates he was kind of searching for solutions for this pain. But it kind of doesn't matter really how bad his pain was in the context of radicalizations, because in a world where like people are putting out everything is romantic supercuts about a killer because he's got abs and trauma, then that gives everyone a rationale to kill. That gives everyone the opportunity to feel like they can become famous if they kill. I mean, have you seen these things? Like, it is way over the top, and it is leading us to a very bad place. This is not a world that we want to live in, where you get to rationalize your pain, your trauma, the bad experiences of your life into vigilante murder. I'm sorry to be harsh about this, but Luigi's got pain, you got pain, everybody's got pain. All right. This type of radicalization origin story could justify basically anything. All right. For me, you could imagine me doing something like this. A decade of being indoctrinated by teachers and priests telling me that I was a sinner who needed to deny my self-love and be alienated from my family if I was going to, do what I felt was right for me. That wasn't great. That felt painful. You might say it was radicalizing even. I don't get to kill the Archbishop over it. All right. I've got middle-aged guy pals who deal with really horrible, like debilitating pain from past accidents that they were in when we were younger, or bad genes. Like, I feel horrible for them. I wish I could do more to help them alleviate it. I don't wish that they could start capping fools. All right. If you get in a car wreck and somebody rear ends you and you have long-term back pain, you don't get to go kill the CEO of Ford or the person that rear ended you. Like, that is bad luck. It sucks. It's life. The U.S. health industry also kind of sucks. Plenty of people have had bad experiences with it. The U.S. healthcare system also performs miracles every day. There is this romanticization of healthcare systems abroad. And let me tell you, healthcare systems abroad have bad outcomes too. I was reading Noah Smith's column about this, where he's talking about how people have various complaints about the way that the system works in Australia and in England, which have more socialized healthcare systems. There are dehumanizing ways that we treat people in our healthcare system, and that people are treated that way elsewhere. Like, any system of care is going to lead to bad outcomes. Like, all of us eventually get pain. All of us eventually die. Sometimes the system can't do for people what we wish it could. Does that mean that we just accept those bad outcomes? No. Should we have serious discussions about how to reform it and make it better? Yeah. Should we raise awareness about particular areas of our healthcare system that don't work? Should we steal ideas from other countries where certain parts of their system work better? Should politicians campaign against the failures? Should you write polemics about healthcare executives that inspire change? Sure, all of that, sure. Murder on the street? No. And that takes me to Daniel Penny. This is another thorny, complicated situation in life that people don't like to contend with. My colleague Cathy Young wrote about the complexity of this case a while back for the Bulwark. I'll put the link in the show notes. But the short of it is this. Jordan Neely was on the subway acting erratic. He was threatening and menacing people. He had a history of such behavior. In this instance, Penny intervened, tried to subdue him. As a result of that exchange, where other people, by the way, came and helped Daniel Penny, including a black person, for those who want to make this all about race, Jordan Neely died. This scenario is a tragedy. Daniel Penny is not really a hero in any meaningful sense. He's not a premeditated murderer, obviously. He's a guy who tried to restrain a threat and ended up killing the person that was the threat. It is a tragedy that I'm sure will haunt him, and that will haunt the family of Jordan Neely. This is not a hero-villain story in our woke culture wars. There's nothing that should be radicalizing about this. This is of bad luck. This is a fucked up situation that happens in life. There's just something childish, I think, about all of this kind of talk about people getting radicalized by things like this. People want to be characters in a children's story. They want a Robin Hood, a good guy and a bad guy, a evil monster who must be toppled. They want Avengers to come and right all of the wrongs that have been done by them. I get that impulse, but Donald Trump is not bringing the coal jobs back. Okay? That's not, anybody, just because you are radicalized, because you live in the Rust Belt and your towns have been hollowed out. There are ways to fix that. Hiring, deciding that a total grifter should be the president, isn't going to do it. I'm sorry. We don't live in a fairy tale. Brian Thompson's murder, it isn't ushering in a new era of more humane socialist healthcare. I'm sorry, Red Rose Twitter. That's not how this stuff works. Things are complicated. There are tragedies in life. We all need to work together as a society to try to improve them gradually over time. That's the solution to all of this. It is not as satisfying as being in a superhero movie, or it is not as satisfying as saying hell yeah, ripped abs guy taking down the man. It's hard. It's complicated. It requires dealing with gray areas and recognizing that sometimes people get boned by life. It doesn't mean we shouldn't have empathy for them. It doesn't mean we shouldn't try to fix things. It just means that we should be serious about it and not try to tear down the fabric of our society by putting in a kakistocracy to run the country, or by supporting random vigilante murders against rich people we don't like because we think that's going to make everything better. It's not. It's taking us towards a dystopia, and we should resist it. See you right back here tomorrow. Appreciate you very much. Peace.